Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's so serious. Where my girls at? We ain't linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Down. It is going down. Hey, it is going down. You have the Force of Friendship on We Got Issues today. Do we have issues? But Georgia ain't one of them. Thank you to Georgia. We're going to talk about it all today. This is your girl, Katrina Harris Earl with the Force of Friendship. I want to be sure, absolutely positively sure, that you are tuning in to We Got Issues Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I mean, I'm on the West Coast. We got Central Time. I listen from Jamaica. I mean, it's so easy to tune in because you can go to theforceoffriendship.com, click on the We Got Issues tab, and you can see all the different ways you can listen, watch while you're driving, while you're on a plane, train, yacht, wherever you are. Okay, you can listen in and make sure we have a little bit of feedback. So I think a little bit of feedback, not sure where that's coming from, but we want to make sure also that you check out our podcast. Do you know that wherever you listen to podcasts, you can put the Force of Friendship in there. We Got Issues, and our faces, our cute faces, Sabrina, Katrina, Gloria, and Chrisette, it's going to pop up and you can listen to us on podcasts too. So there's no reason, because these girlfriends promise to keep you laughing. And even the stuff, we're going to make you laugh even at the stuff that makes us want to cry, because you got to find humor in it all. Today, we are going to be fortunate enough to have one of our favorite guests, State Representative Regina Goodwin, sister to Sabrina Goodwin Monday, and the most powerful and amazing guest we have on We Got Issues, all things politics, voting rights. We're going to talk about it all today because we have Georgia on our mind. And right before we're going to meet the girlfriends, you guys, of course, unless you were under a rock, there was an election yesterday. Yeah, one very important election yesterday. And we are so excited to announce that the very first full-term African-American senator from the state of Georgia is Senator Raphael Warnock, who defeated Republican Herschel Walker in Georgia's Senate runoff. Y'all, but we ain't gonna take it for granted, because let's be clear, it was 51-49. Okay?
Right.
Woo!
Close.
How did we get there? We're gonna talk about it. And you guys, I just want to say before I pass it to you, Sabrina, that I don't know if you saw the news today that in Germany, there was a raid in Germany because they were attempting a coup in Germany. Like 52 people being arrested. They were going to go into the parliament and take over with guns.
In Germany.
In Germany. So hello, we're not talking third world country, Germany. Okay, hello. So this is real, you guys, and it is not just, I mean, wickedness and craziness is not just an American thing. It is really not Democrat and Republican. It is just all hell is breaking loose up in this joint, for real. I mean, you need a lot of prayer, because people, I mean, it used to be when you were not happy with things, there were other ways of, stating your case. But now, if you don't like it, you just take over. I mean, just make a new constitution, just, rip it up and start over, I guess. Right. And in some places, that is necessary. Let's be clear. There are some places in the world that they need to rip up their rules and start over, but not in a free country, okay? Like Germany, like America. Let's talk about it. So Sabrina, looking fabulous and fly. How many Christmas trees do you say you have? Because the girls talked about it yesterday. Everybody got decorations, and I got none. I ain't at home.
A lot.
I've been thinking about that peppermint candle.
Little bitty ones, big ones, bright lights everywhere. And still, honestly, I need to stop, because this thing goes on and on and on. And it's like one more tree, one more this, one more Home Depot run, one more Home Goods run. I'm like, I'm so done. But I am one more stop. When I leave after the show, I got to go get some poinsettias. And then I think I'm done. I got to get a few more poinsettias and I'm done. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I wish
It's crazy.
Christmas was different times of year because I would just have you send all that stuff over here and reuse it. Okay. Oh, I have it all in my garage. I just don't want to take it out. I'm like, Lord, help me, help me.
I know you're going to be traveling so much, Katrina. You're going to be traveling, but when you're in a new house, your stuff doesn't fit. You need something else, and it's just always something. And honestly, we're not going to do the outside because it's just too late. I'm going to get an early start next year. But for the first time, we have real Christmas trees in front of the house. It's real Christmas trees. They look so pretty. And all we have to do is throw some lights up. But I don't think we're going to do that. But anyway, just decorate away.
Gloria, are we getting a New Year's card or Easter card? Which one are we getting this year? Because I ain't got no card either.
I can't believe you asked me. I got my first Christmas cards today, and this is what I did. I opened it up, and I was like, okay, I got a Christmas card. We got the pictures, everything, all that's done. So it'll be before the end of next year for sure. It'll be before the end of next year. Look, all day long, I've been thinking about that peppermint candle from Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm like, I wonder if I should go get me some.
No, Bath and Body Works, not Bed Bath & Beyond. Bath and Body Works. And a peppermint.
I would have been all up in the can, yelling at the salespeople.
No.
What? It's supposed to be here.
No.
So I got a long way to go. Then look at this, y'all. I got to go over to the office and decorate for my mother-in-law too. So she needs a Christmas. We need Christmas. Yeah. But other than that, I'm just excited. I don't care. I'm so excited. I was up last night and I was waiting. It was way too close, way too uncomfortable. So I had my Christmas. My Christmas came last night.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do it again in about 2 weeks. Unbelievable.
I was talking to girlfriend Latricia Henry that you guys know well, and she said she was, after following a surgery, y'all, stood in line in the rain with needing crutches. I mean, just the things that people did, those of you that went above and beyond and doing everything that you needed to do. Thank you. We are going to bring the good representative in here. We are so excited. I want you to know Regina Goodwin, a native of Tulsa, grew up in historic Greenwood Avenue. We can hear you, Regina. She is state representative from Tulsa House District 73. We are so excited that she is representing us in Oklahoma and has just come back from the Black Caucus meeting. I saw you on Facebook. I know it was a big doggone deal. She's going to talk all about it, y'all. We are going to talk about how we get here. Okay, how do we get here? We're going to talk all about it. The Supreme Court case, everything that is going down. Regina, say hello to the people. How are you?
Hello, people. Hello, Gloria, Katrina, Sabrina. How y'all doing? Y'all holding it down. Just glad to be here. And this is a glorious day because Warnock won. That's the end of the radio show.
Okay, exactly.
Regina, last night, what were your thoughts? I mean, when the day started yesterday, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts when the day started and as the day progressed?
Everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats, and we were just wanting Warnock to pull this off. It was close the first go round, so it was close again. And my thoughts were, let's just win. Because, Herschel Walker was not qualified. He was not competent. And he just would have been carrying the water for a whole bunch of folks and drowning us in the meantime. So, hey, I'm glad that Warnock won. And I loved his acceptance speech. And I loved all of the energy throughout these last few weeks that helped him get over the finish line. The energy and the work was just incredible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Was so close. And can we just talk about Black women? I mean, Black women can you talk about the significance of not just the Black vote, but Black females? And I was looking for the stats. I couldn't find the stats. And I'm sure they'll be coming out. Maybe I couldn't find them, or maybe they're not out in that level of detail. But the difference that we made in Georgia would not look the same if it wasn't for Black women showing up and showing out.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really good point that the work that so many women, Black women in particular, have done in that area, in that region. They're not even saying that it's a purple state. They're now just saying that it's light red. That's how diligent and committed they are. They're not fooled. They know there was voter oppression, even still, with all that they've done. And they also know that this wasn't something that took place in a year. We're looking at 10 years, 5 years, a consistent drumbeat of we've got to be difference makers. And so it's not something you can just do, roll out some kind of strategy in a couple of years. This took lifelong commitment in terms of what's happened in Georgia. So you're right. It's been dynamic what has happened. But again, get this, all of that hard work, and it was still a close election, right?
Right.
So that just lets you know that no matter how right you are, no matter how competent you are, wickedness is still very much with us, and we're going to have to combat it. And these are fights worth having, no different than the fights that our ancestors had. So they were up to the task. We have to be up to the task as folks are trying to roll back the hands of time. We got to keep pushing forward. But, what I think is that had it not been for those diligent Black folks, women in particular, we would not see the victory of Warnock and Ossoff and a number of other folks out of the area.
And let's be clear.
Regina, I just want to jump in, Katrina. Let's give Regina kudos. She just came back from the Black Caucus meeting, and she was named outstanding. Regina, tell them about your award. It was really good. Big deal. Tell us about this award.
Oh, okay. So the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, it has all of the state representatives and all of the state senators from across the nation, and we convene once a year. And we talk about policy. We bring in dynamic speakers. We vote for our presidents, etc. And by God's grace, I was elected as Legislator of the Year for what they call Region 10. We have 12 regions in America. And Region 10 is comprised of Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. And that Region 10, I was Legislator of the Year. So there are 12 elected officials that received that honor. And it's by God's grace that I was recognized, received the honor. And so we had that meeting, and that's what that was.
We're not going to gloss over that. We're not going to gloss over that by no stretch of the imagination, Regina. Those are big states with a lot of leverage and a lot of stuff. So I'm very excited to hear about that. And that's such a big deal, because it's easy when you're the one that receives it to gloss over it. But that is very, very large, very large. So congratulations. And it also means that not only what you're doing has affected your state, but what you're doing has affected so many people on the states around your states and a large part of the United States. And that's a big deal. That's a very big deal.
Yeah, I want to challenge.
We got to do what we can. Yeah.
Challenge the radio audience to go and follow Representative Regina Goodwin on Facebook, and you will see her being recognized. And Regina, so deserving. I mean, as I think about the race in Georgia, it's so much bigger than just Democrat or Republican. It is about competency. It is about someone whose lifelong heart has been in making a difference. And it's about carrying on MLK's legacy, carrying on the legacy of the ancestors and of just who Raphael Warnock represents, who you represent.
Yes.
I mean, it's so big. And so we celebrate you. We are so glad that you are not just Sabrina's sister, but our friend. I got your own direct number to call you. Okay.
I'm y'all sisters too. Yes. I'm y'all sister too now. Don't be trying to push me to the side now.
I mean, making a difference in everything you do. We're going to talk all about it when we come back. We're going to talk about what's happening in the Supreme Court today. You better stay woke. We'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in to We Got Issues. Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia,
The whole day through.
the whole day through.
Yes, we got Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind.
Just
Thank
an
you,
old
Casey.
sweet song
Georgia on my mind as I get a phone call from South Africa,
keeps
but I got
Georgia
Georgia on
on
my
my
mind. I'm telling you, we got a lot
mind.
happening up in here. Well, guess what? We are sitting here talking about Georgia, but we're talking about it all
I said
with Regina, State Representative Regina Goodwin. Regina, your genuine service to the community springs from deep roots in Tulsa and has not gone unnoticed. You just talked about your award that you received from at the Black Caucus conference, and I want you to talk more about that. And we are just so grateful for you and who you represent and all the awards, all those that have recognized you for the work you do. And so can you just give us the inside scoop, tell us a little bit about what took place at the meeting that you were present at?
Well, here's what's ironic. The Prime Minister of Jamaica was with us while you were in Jamaica.
Wow.
Andrew
Okay.
Holness. Yes, Andrew Holness. And he is someone who has said that as it relates to having their sovereignty and independence, that they want to soon break away from the rule of the monarchy. And he's explained that to the prince already. So it's that kind of progressive and forward thinking that's happening at these conferences. And you got to know, as we talk about Georgia, Ambassador Calvin Smyrie was there. He's the longest serving elected official in Georgia. He's been serving for some 48 years. And so he is now the ambassador to the Bahamas. And, you know, the president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators is Billy Mitchell. He is out of Georgia. So Georgia was on everybody's mind while we were trying to talk about policy and strategy. We had our eyes on, you know, people literally were leaving the conference because they had a few more votes to try to get and a few more folks that they needed to get to the polls. So it was an exciting time. So much was going on at that conference. And I can tell you, Eddie Glaude, who I dearly love out of Princeton, was there, who often is an MSNBC commentator. And for the first time, we had the Quad Caucus at the Black Caucus. So that's Native Americans and Pacific Islanders, Hispanic folks, Black folks, because we know it's going to be a coalition. That is how Raphael Warnock won yesterday. It was a coalition of folks that had come together to put him over the top. And absolutely, was it led by Black women? Yes, but certainly Black men and Hispanic men and Asian Pacific Islanders, white folks that know the difference between right and wrong. And yeah, absolutely. So the conference was amazing. It was very timely. And your question, you talked about how in the world was this race so close, right? Well, Eddie Glaude was at the conference, and Eddie Glaude talked about, well, we won that election, right? And we talk about Raphael Warnock winning by 100,000 votes. Well, maybe 2 percentage points, perhaps. But the truth of the matter is 100,000 votes. But why did 1,800,000 people vote for craziness, for incompetency, for a liar?
That's my question.
For someone who has done wrong. Why did that happen? And I think he said it, Eddie Glaude said it very well. He said, yeah, we dodged a bullet by winning this election with Senator Warnock, but there are 5 bullets still in the chamber, and we need to be very alert and very aware.
And Regina, that's with the Dems spending $53 million and the Republicans spending $24 million. We had to outspend. Hey, Mr. Monday. Okay, Coach Monday in the house. All right, for the radio audience, he just came and kissed his wife. Get excited, y'all. Goodwins and them Mondays. They're just so affectionate. Y'all just doing good everywhere. But just talk about that. I mean, we spent twice as much, and it was still that close. With, I mean, that's huge. $400 million spent combined in the midterm. That's a lot of cash. Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I would like, don't we wish that money could have been spent otherwise on some programs, right? Going to some folks in need. Wouldn't that be great? But what I really think is that folks knew who they were going to vote for. And so whether the money was spent or not, folks were going to get out and vote for Warnock, or folks were going to get out and vote for Herschel Walker. And I'm glad we spent the money because that's manpower on the ground. We had folks leaving Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had Greg Robinson from Tulsa that was participated in that for about the last 2 months. Brilliant mind here. They asked him to go out and see what you can do to help in Georgia. And so they have to pay folks, right? The work doesn't come free. And the best work usually comes when you get some kind of incentive. And yes, we got beautiful volunteers, but we all know how it goes. Sometimes they say you get what you pay for. So it costs money to run campaigns, but I'm still suggesting that people were going to go to the polls and they were going to vote. And I think the outcome would have been pretty much the same, but we need to spend the money, right? Because we got to knock on doors. We got to get to various precincts. And I know the women in particular were making sure they were in every precinct, right? And that was absolutely important. And they were referring to Stacey Abrams as a Moses, someone who did not win her gubernatorial run, but they said she is like the Lady Moses, right? Mm-hmm. That she led us to the promised land. She didn't get to see it herself. And she's not the governor, right, but she has made sure that our lives are forever changed. And she's going to continue to be a formidable force. And so just lots of commentary, lots of great folks from Georgia present. And here we are. We've got a victory and we got to keep it pushing. Like Raphael Warnock said last night, the preacher said, we can dance tonight and then tomorrow we got to get back to business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They definitely talked about the difference that what is taking place. It's not just around election time, but it's the game that is keeping it in front of people all the entire time. Because before you know it, we'll look up and it will be a presidential election. I'm going to ask this question, then I'll pass it to you, Gloria. Right now, before the Supreme Court is something called the independent state legislator theory. Basically, the Constitution talks about states having time, being able to determine time, place, and manner. But what's before the Supreme Court right now could give unchecked power to states and how they handle elections. And I understand
gerrymandering
a little bit, but it's a big deal. So, Regina, can you talk about that, what you know about it, and just in general about all that's taking place around voting rights?
Yeah, basically, this harkens back to the 1930s. It is another effort to suppress our vote. It's a bunch of mess. You've got the states that are trying to determine how the elections are going to go. So basically, things haven't been going their way. So basically, they want to say we want to be able to basically supersede what's going on the federal level, right? It doesn't make any sense. It is about suppression. It is about racism, and it is about taking us many steps backwards when it comes to all of us being heard and all of our voices being heard. And it's not about a few white men that get mad because they lost an election. So now, it was Donald Trump, I think, he said he wanted to tear up the Constitution, right? That's the world we're living in. And what we've got to do is fight back, right? We've got to fight back, and they will do whatever they can. And when you stack the courts with folks that are going to do your bidding, we got to be real careful when we tell folks we're going to run to the courthouse and sue about these issues, because they've got some wicked folks, some folks that don't care about fairness and inclusivity. They don't care about that. They're sitting in the courthouse waiting for you when you sue. So we've got to be vigilant. We've been through worse. Remember, there was a time when we didn't have the vote, right? There was a time when it was illegal to vote, right? It would, illegal to learn how to read. So what we got to do is keep pressing forward and take the folks with us that are thinking like us. It's not about spending time with folks that are going to be difficult to convince, right? Again, there's some 1,800,000 folks that don't want to be convinced, right? So we got to work with those other folks that put Warnock over the top. And when it comes to states' rights and all of this, like I say, it's just a matter of what advantages one person over the other. And that is a bunch of mess, what they're talking about. And we just got to be vigilant. I know that it's before the courts. What the outcome is going to be, we don't know. But it's a bad concept.
Mm-hmm. Gloria?
You know what, Regina, I'm so thrown back about the fact that Trump could bring Herschel from Texas and Dr. Oz in the Philadelphia. And I think it went over many people's heads how he shifted that and tried to make that happen. So can you explain to our listeners and to me, how is it that you can just pick somebody up out one state and just shift them over to another state to run in that state just because you want to?
You do that again when you control the Secretary of States in these, right? Secretary of State is a very important position. Your Attorney General is a very important position. Your courts are very important. And these are the folks you typically have to, they navigate these situations. So if you already know that you've got somebody there that you basically have put in place to do your bidding, then that's how it happens. So we can't be too logical about this. Let's not try to make it make sense. You have folks that are willing to do wrong. You have folks that are willing to suppress your voice and your vote and your value just because they want to win. And any threat to their perceived power, they will do whatever they can. So that is how it's working. And it, quite frankly, you all, this is not that new in America, right? We're just seeing it on display, right? We're seeing it magnified.
Wow.
So we just got to be vigilant and understand it doesn't make sense. It's not right, but they will do it.
Thank
That's
you
an
so
important
much,
statement.
Gina, for
Can't be
breaking it
logical.
down. So important, so important. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about hope. And I'm going to play a little bit of Raphael Warnock's speech, because his speech really was about helping us to remember what it's all about, the difference that it makes, the difference a vote makes, and how far we've come as African Americans here in this country. We will be right back. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, we pulled out some blue bottoms yesterday, baby. It was all about the blue bottoms yesterday. Thanks for tuning in to We Got Issues. This is the Force of Friendship. Sabrina Goodwin Monday is in the house. Gloria Mayfield Banks is in the house. I'm Katrina Harris Earl. We are missing Chrisette Ellis, but I'm telling you, tune in tomorrow because she'll be back with another juicy show. Today, we are talking all things Georgia, all things voting, all things making a difference, and why it is all so important with Representative Regina Goodwin out of the state of Oklahoma. I'm going to play a little bit of Senator Raphael Warnock's speech last night. Two statements that I know just made us all, whether you were laying down in bed, whatever you were doing, just made you, it just got you so juiced on the inside and reminded us about the fight, why it is so important. And I immediately thought of that. All my life, I had to fight. I mean, we have had to fight. We've heard about the fight from our grandparents, from our great-grandparents. Right. We've seen about it. We've seen it. And to hear him talk about his mama, I mean, that just rocked you at your core. So would you cue that for me, Dorothy and Davey? Thank you so much.
To utter the four most powerful words ever spoken in a democracy. The people have spoken. I often say that a vote is a kind of prayer for the world we desire for ourselves and for our children. Voting is faith put into action. And Georgia, you have been praying with your lips and your lips. With your hands and your feet, your heads and your hearts. You have put in hard work, and here we are standing together. I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to my mother who is here tonight. You'll see her in a little while. But she grew up in the 1950s in Waycross, Georgia, picking somebody else's cotton and somebody else's tobacco. But tonight she helped pick her youngest son to be a United States.
That's it. You can cut it right there. You can cut it right there, Sabrina. I'm gonna go to you because I know just hearing the cadence in his voice, just hearing that. I mean, it moves you at the core. It reminds you of what it's all about. It's just like. So, Sabrina, what was your thoughts? I know you was glad you was out of Facebook jail. You was talking
Woo! It was, I was just so grateful because I was thinking about how close it could have gone the other way, right? And how we would be feeling today, what it would look like for us as a country today. And so for me, it just renewed hope in the system. It renewed hope in the voting process. To see his mother, she picked cotton for other people. And now she's picked me as U.S. I mean, it was just heartwarming, powerful, and as tough as it is, we got to continue to fight. We got to continue to fight for what we believe in. We've got to know what we know. no matter how tired we may seem. I mean, I look at the work Regina does on a daily basis, and we're all called to our being. I always look at it and say, I'm glad God called you to that and not me. Because I just don't have what you have in that way. It's so hard. Politics is a hard game right now. I think it's always been hard, but right now it's a different kind of hard. And so to our elected officials, thank you for doing what you do. I'm just so grateful that God saw fit for Warnock to be in this position, because Lordy have mercy, y'all. We got some issues. And if we don't continue to stay on our knees and stay out there fighting for what's right, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. What were you going to say, Gloria?
You know, I was going to ask you, Sabrina, to talk about, although it was very narrow, it gives back hope. You know, because if we woke up differently this morning, so much hope would have been lost. And it gives us so much energy. But I just want you to talk about that because of how you were talking, that you know, when you wake up and you see the hope.
It's very, I mean, you guys, it's like a slippery slope. And honestly, every day we don't know which side is up or which side is down in the USA. I've been thinking this thought, like, what would my grandmother say? What would my mother say about these times? What would my dad say? Today's his birthday. And so yes. And when I tell you he would be all up in this conversation, he would have a whole lot to say. He would want to be our guest every day on the show. He would be calling in every day because Ed Jr. would have something to say about all issues. Just a man in the community, very smart, very wise, but a community activist. And we got so much of who we are from how we grew up. And so, Regina, you talk a little bit about the fight and what keeps you going and how we must muster every ounce of energy in our daily lives of the importance of these issues and not giving up.
Right. Yeah, Sabrina, and I just concur with everything that everybody's saying. I think that what we heard in Senator Warnock's speech last night, he was just speaking truth, right? And truth actually had a revival last night. We're so used to all the craziness, you know, that makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. We had a man with a simple message that was truthful. That's why it connected to us. We saw his mother literally praising God with her hands up, right? That's real, right? That's what sustained so many families throughout generations. And we know that one of the first things that Senator Warnock said was, to God be the glory. This is a minister. Yes. So understand, you didn't hear a lot as he was on the campaign trail, but you saw the loosening of his spirit last night. He said, it's okay to tell these folks that I'm girded and grounded because of God. And you felt that. And I thought about all the wicked folks that have tried to suppress the votes, all the folks that stood in those lines in Atlanta. I talked to somebody this morning. They were running around all over Georgia trying to figure out where to vote because they were getting the runaround, but they still voted. His message resonated because it was real, and there is a spirit really that steals us and moves us forward, and you couldn't help but feel it. And I thought about all those wicked folks. I said, even the wicked folks felt what Senator Warnock was saying last night. They felt it. They know what he's saying is true. They know deep in their souls that what he said was true. And I imagine they were moved just a little bit for a hot second. Yeah, but that's what keeps us going, right? For me, I know if I was dependent on man and all of that, we'd be up a creek. Seriously, it's got to be something that is greater than what we're seeing. All this, you know, we're looking at autocracy, and you all are talking about Germany and folks trying to overtake countries. That's where we are. And what we got to do is continue to push back. And how we push back and how are we fortified and how our spirits restored. They're restored for the kindness that we show each other, for the folks that we continue to help, for the help that we've received from others. That keeps us going, right? And I still say there are more good folks in this universe than wicked. right? The wicked folks just happen to have the microphone a little more often lately. But that's what keeps us going. So we gotta continue to encourage each other and know these are fights worth having, because guess what? Like you say, our father has gone on, our mother has gone on, but they would want nothing more than for us to do the right thing and to keep it pushing, right? For all of us, right, that have experienced that, right? For those with mothers, fathers still living, if they're doing the best they can, they're going to be encouraging us to be our best and to keep fighting the good fight. And they always tell us, don't give up. We had a meeting today with some theater folks came from New York, and they met the survivors here. So it was Vanessa Williams from New York and Tamara Tooney, who's on Law and Order, and a number of other folks that came to this city to see what is all this about, right? And they were so encouraged once they sat with a 108-year-old. They say, I see why I'm still here on earth. We got more work to do.
That is so true. I mean, we got to fight with our lips and our legs, our hands and our feet, our head and our heart. We got to put it all in. Regina, when we come back, I'm going to ask you about those that want to be more active in the community. Where do they start? What do they do? How can they get involved? Some may even choose to run for office. Most won't, but we can all give money, but we can also use our lips and legs, hands and feet, our head and our heart. We're going to talk about it when we come back for our final segment. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Thanks for coming back, staying tuned for our entire show. It has been juicy. We're talking about it all. It was not planned, but we all have blue on today. I am so glad it was a blue day and not a red day. Okay, we all have it on subconsciously. I reach for my blue. I reach for my blue. Sabrina, Regina, I wanted to just drive home. Sabrina was talking about hope, and you were talking about wickedness, and I just want to say this: that when we say this, if we were talking about a quality candidate that ran against Raphael Warnock, this conversation, while we still would be excited when your candidate wins, this conversation would be very different. When you talk about the wickedness that is taking place with voter suppression, there was a woman who said she voted in November, and when she went to vote this time, her name was nowhere. She went through all the chains that she needed to go through, and come to find out someone had changed her address. Her address had been changed. She did not change her address. And then she said, well, let me go over there and vote. And she was told if she went over there to vote, that it's illegal to vote at an address where you don't live. And she could have been prosecuted for that. I mean, clearly there is wickedness taking place. And when I just think about, as a Christian, those that are, I'm not going to, question their faith, but those that call themselves Christian that would vote for someone they would not want their daughter to bring home, or their son for that matter, depending on their sexual orientation, would not trust with their child. Someone who is incompetent, deadbeat dad, abusive to women. There's something that has to take place when people are mixing Christianity and this nationalism. It's just, I mean, it bothers me, and I got a whole lot to say about it. And so thank you for standing for righteousness and all that you do. I just appreciate you. So anything you want to say on that? And then can you talk about how do we get involved? We all feel like we need to do more, but first go ahead and talk about that.
Very quickly, for decades, they have confused, or they tried to trick us to think that they're talking about Christianity or something godly. Remember, it was the Ku Klux Klan that would burn a cross in your yard. There's nothing godly about their activity. There is nothing spiritual about their activity, right? It's all propaganda. So let's just keep it in the box that it belongs in. Let's continue to fight it. Their prayers are not getting any further than ours are, even though they will tell you that. I am a woman of faith. For all those that might not be, that are listeners, again, this is how I move through my life, right? Everybody has to do what works for them. And I tell you something I learned at the conference with the voter suppression laws, with the judges that are in place now, with the attorney generals that are making decisions that they should not be making. A quote was said, a guy said, you tried to bury me with your tactics, but what you did not realize is that you were burying a seed. And when you bury a seed, you see, we multiply and we regenerate and we grow and we flourish. And so I will take that with me for all that is attempted to diminish our voice and our vote, our value. We're going to remember that we are seeds. So try to bury us if you will. But there were generations that had come before us. There are going to be generations after us. And as Eddie Glaude said, we dodged a bullet and they've got 5 more bullets in the chamber. If they've got 5 bullets, we've got more generations than they have bullets to come. So we got to be prepared. We got to fight. We got to be informed, right? The main thing is be informed about what's going on, right? So before you even get involved, know what you're doing. Don't just jump out there, right? We've got folks out there talking about, I want to help. And then they find out they were helping the wrong candidate, right? They're like, I made some phone calls. Who'd you make phone calls for? Oh, the man came and got me and said, well, if you do your homework, they will try to get you to go do calls on behalf of their folks, right? And they're trusting that you're not going to know, right? We've had folks go to the polls and vote for the wrong folks. So one, you got to be informed, and you got to be interested enough in yourself and in the generations to come. And if you don't have enough energy to be concerned about yourself, be concerned about the folks that you care about. Start there, right? Because we're all in this together, and you got to find a reason. What is your why in terms of getting involved in this thing called politics? And it's not about politics. It's about life. and we just like make it very simple, and it's not complicated. But I've said it over and over again. If you go out and buy a bag of Cheetos, you're involved in politics because the tax on that bag of Cheetos is going somewhere. So you might as well have a say in it. Okay. So many ways to get involved. One, be informed, and let's continue to build on victories, and know that nothing comes easy. We shouldn't expect, those are misplaced expectations in America. So let's keep moving forward. Let's get some rest, and then let's get back out and do what we got to do. And, you know, while we're resting, there's another crew that's on the clock. There's another crew that's moving us forward. And then we got to move and help each other, shift and move, pray, fight, work, rest, right? And we keep it moving. That's what we've done for generations. So this ain't nothing new.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, we just can't thank you enough. What would you say are some of the, in addition to what you talked about, any other pressing issues that you're working on right now in the state of Oklahoma that you could talk about, that we now see that all politics is local, and many of the issues you're working on in your state, I know are happening in other states as well?
Everybody pay attention to your school boards. We're working on a gerrymandering issue right now in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where that's your voice, right, on the school board. When the books are being banned, when they're telling you can't learn about certain history, Black folks in particular, that's happening at the local level. So when they start gerrymandering your elected officials out of their offices, go to those meetings, ask a question, be concerned, because it all starts at that level. And I guarantee you, on the national level, they're using all of this stuff, all of this propaganda about these school board meetings, and our children are being indoctrinated. It's all propaganda. They're all lies. So be in tune. I don't care if you don't have kids. Your taxes, right? Go and your taxes are going to the school district. So get involved. It's your money. You don't have to have children. You just have to have enough sense to say, if we don't all play a part, just a small part, then we're not going to go in the right direction. And you see, we can't let the other folks outthink us. We can't let them outwork us. And we got to just keep fighting the good fight, right? So that's what we do. And just do one thing. I would encourage everybody, again, tell folks to get registered, get informed, and vote. Let's start there. And then certainly you can go volunteer. You can go knock on a door. You can call somebody on a telephone. You can, at your kitchen table, talk to folks about what's going on in the community, right? Because it all starts there. Talk to your nieces and nephews, right? And at halftime of a football game, bring up something else other than the game, right? You know, what did you think about the Warnock victory, right? They'll start talking. Right.
Yeah. People move more than ever. And so that's just going to be a natural part of my conversation when I hear someone move. You know, did you get registered to vote in that area? That's a big deal. You know, it could be something that those that it's not.
Make sure they update their addresses. They need to update their addresses if they move. And then when people lie on us and play the tricks, we got to fight through that too. Right. So we can't plan for all the things that they're going to do, all the tactics. But what we can do is make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do, and we're informed enough about the process. And then we're in a better position to fight.
Excellent. Regina, Representative Regina Goodwin, we thank you for coming on the show, being
I heard there was an election yesterday. Who won the election? I'm just curious. Who won the election yesterday?
We won. We all won. Okay. You get a senator, you get a senator, you get a senator. Hey. Thank you so much. Thank you. Keep fighting the good fight, y'all. Get registered to vote. Register your friends. Everybody make sure they're registered, and make sure that they understand that we matter. Our involvement matters. Thanks for tuning in to We Got Issues. We'll be right here tomorrow, 6 to 7 p.m. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Bye.